something everyone has around at home is an empty bottle. Now this is a little bit harder plastic than the really flexible water bottles that you'll have out there, which are super crunchy and light. If you've got a small, really small dog, those can be okay, but generally dogs medium to large size are gonna bite through those a little more quickly. So you want something that's a little harder plastic. You can hear that difference. Not only can you throw, I'm gonna make Christine come on camera. Could you grab me a few treats, Christine?
Sure.
Thanks. You can throw a few kibbles inside of this, and with the labels off, fully rinsed out, obviously, because there are some toxic items in sodas, xylitol, namely, as well as, what's that other one that's been around for a while? Aspartame. Thanks. And you can have your dog work and toss this around to get the kibble out. And as they fall out, just as my dog just did, they'll run over and eat the kibble. If you want to get fancier, you can also put some in here and then put this inside of other items, and you'll see what we mean about that in just a minute. Saw somebody do something really cool. I've seen this online as well, but one of my clients actually poked or drilled holes through this and put it on a dowel spindle and had it spinning for it to empty out as the dog tapped at it. A little more construction involved, but a great project since we've got downtime. The other one I love for bigger dogs is, this is a milk gallon container. I have almond milk at home, so this is just one of those brands. I just took the labels off, rinsed it out, let it air dry, and this is really great for in the house or outside. And again, you can throw kibble in there to make it extra enticing. I don't know if I'm able to see. Oh, good. I have people coming in and saying things. Yay! Thank you for watching. Yay! Enrichment. That's right. I love it. So that's another one you can do.
With this one too.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
fine.
she's participating.
Okay, I'll talk. With this one too, at the shelter, a lot of the time, what we would do would be to put kibble in this, so they could eat a very little amount of it, and it was okay. You could actually put something in the end, so it could be wet food, peanut butter. This squeeze cheese is
Great idea.
a popular one. With this spoon, just kind of like put it off level and then put it in your freezer sideways. Because if you put it in your freezer like this, it's going to fall right in. But if you do it sideways, it will freeze right there in that opening, and they'll have to work at that before they can even start getting the kibble out. You also, I don't want to destroy it, but you can also, to make it harder, pre-crunch it. If there's something really good in there, pre-crunching it can make it harder as well if you don't have something to stuff in the end.
And I'm sure you all have these at home or can pile through a bit of your stockpiles. We'll get to the toilet paper in a little bit. I love that idea. And then obviously, if you don't know if your dog is a hard chewer or not, you can certainly monitor them the first few goes to see what kind of chewer they are for a material like this or material like this. I know someone who has a hound who loves to really get in here and tear it apart. And so just keep an eye on him. And as he gets it a little more shredded, and there might be some pieces that we don't want digging into his mouth, and we just trade it out for something else, and it goes bye-bye into the recycling.
I did think of one more thing too, I forgot. So we do something else with the bottles, we did at the shelter as well, where you actually wouldn't even need food to put in it. And for this, you might actually want like a crinklier bottle. It will get destroyed quicker though, so you can use your judgment. And we actually just clean it off and put it in a long tube sock and then tie the end. And you can even put multiple bottles in depending on how long the sock is and how small the bottles are. And that becomes a crinkly chew toy for your dog. And most of the dogs absolutely love it. So that's another thing that doesn't even need food that you can use just with old socks and
old bottles. They'll sell those high-end, which are great toys that are out there right now that have that crinkly effect inside them. For some reason, dogs love it. So make your own at home. It's too bad tube socks aren't in style as much anymore because they are so beautiful, but certainly you can get some for yourself, order them in, I suppose, if you could right now, but
I just used old socks.
Yeah, I mean, we all have some old socks. Oh, you know, here's another tip, actually. You reminded me of that. Thank you for bringing that up. Old sweatshirt, old t-shirt, you can also tie off the ends on that and put the bottles inside. So there's plenty of ways to do that. Okay, what else do we have? Let's go to this one. So right here I've got just a box of boxes because that's fun. And don't we all do that? No? Okay, you're not a trainer. So we're geeks and we save our boxes. Just anything you can find at all. Delivery came into this one. And same concept, or similar at least, you can throw lots of kibble inside of these, depending on, and this actually is all depending on your dog and your dog's preferences and so forth. You can throw the kibble in solo, or you can even smear some peanut butter inside and throw it in so it kind of sticks to the inside. And then you can fold those babies over, and then you can put it inside another box. So then you've got another box inside a box, and maybe make this one easier or harder depending on, again, your dog's confidence level and rummaging around. Some dogs would have no fear and just be like, yes, get me in there at once, I must get to the bottom. Other dogs would be like, that's a little too much for me, I can't handle it. So maybe you even, with that dog, keep it open, don't seal it over with any peanut butter, and just leave it open on the ground for them to grab. So again, just keep in mind your dog's going to have a different desire to interact with any of these. So so there's lots of ways to switch this up and do this. Do you have any other recommendations for the boxes?
Yes, for the boxes, I actually use all of my shipping materials most of the time. So some of the companies are now using more like eco-friendly shipping materials than peanuts. So if you don't have other boxes, because at a certain point you run out, I also just stuff them with things. So this is just brown packing paper. It came in a bunch of them. This was, for some reason, like corrugated brown paper. I'm not really sure. But so I just actually wrapped this stuff with kibble in it and put it inside of a box, inside of another box. You can tear it up and make it smaller. I even have gone so far as to put it in a tube.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Don't give it away yet.
So these things can be really useful if you find, like, I don't have an unlimited supply of boxes coming in. I make them last by using things like this.
Yeah. And then another thing you can do, again, just be creative. Think, what can I stuff something in? The actual bag that Christine has there, the brown bag, you could, oh, that's stuffing paper.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to the brown bag. You can stuff items into a brown bag of any size or shape and do the same thing. You make yourself a little gift bag of goodness and then put it inside of the box. So, okay, let's say I've got a 3-pound dog, as I know several of our puppy students have that were just in class earlier, which we did remotely. Yay for us. Everyone rocked it. Well, let's say we have some little bags. So I think secret's out, Christine or Cece loves wine, so it's a wine bag. And when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, I gotta save this. This is perfect for enrichment. I have that my prescriptions came in. I have a little prescription bag. So if you've got a little tyke, you can use these too. You can just take it down a notch for the crinkly effect or the size effect, so whatever size your dog is. Or if you have a big dog who's a little timid, this would be a great way to build confidence and start off small. This is actually a really big confidence builder, but we will get to that.
You can also kind of pare things down for a smaller dog. So say this is all I have, this big bag. What I can do is actually just tear it in half, like long ways. And then if I use something like peanut butter, cheese, or wet food and stick it in the freezer, I can make anything kind of close back up. So if I need to make something smaller for my dog, I can actually cut this into smaller pieces, make my own little bag around my treats, and then seal it up with wet food and plop it in the freezer. So you don't necessarily have to feel like it should be the correct size for your dog or you can't use it. It's recycling. You can just make it work.
Awesome.
And be creative.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for saying that, because that's important. Just get creative and say, what can I do with this? I knew she'd come to life as soon as I started getting into this. She can't help herself. We are such geeks. Okay, so let's move on to some actual food items. So I literally looked in my fridge as we were panicking to figure out what we had on hand for this, and I had leftover rice. I have shredded up cheese. I have plain yogurt. This is Greek just because I'm funny that way. But you can use plain yogurt. Again, nothing with xylitol in it, no sweeteners, because we don't want toxicity for your dogs. But these are just some basic items, including good old peanut butter, that you can add to any of these items. Now, some are going to be messier. You might not want to do that with certain things, but I think you'll get the idea as we go along. Harder items, paper items that you're going to get rid of anyway, not as big a deal.
Yeah, freezing things can help with drippy things too. Just a sheet of wax paper or foil, or even just a plate under it, and it's frozen before it makes sense. You might be wondering, how am I going to keep my children entertained for this time? So this is actually a fun thing that you can
help
do.
You with.
At the shelter, I keep referring to it, but it's because they do a lot of this stuff there. You kind of have to make do with what you can and involve whoever you can. So we actually would have the camp children make these types of items and they love it. And then they get to see their own dog enjoying it. If it's your child, that's probably the most fun that they could have.
Heather asks a really great question. I get this from clients sometimes.
Mhm.
Are we worried about them eating the boxes? Great question. So I make the joke that it's just fiber, but we certainly don't want them that to be their main source of fiber. What I tell people is, sorry, if you know me, you know this is what you're gonna get. I tell them, including with these that we have not gotten to yet, these paper towel rolls, some dogs will lick and eat it. If they're devouring the whole thing, that becomes a little bit of a concern of mine, but generally I'm not concerned about them eating it. Most dogs will just lick and lick and lick and spit it out. That's like a lot of things, Heather. The benefit far outweighs the downside. Sometimes, like I noticed on this one, this is the inside of, I think, maybe some wrapping paper. Oh no, this was aluminum foil wrap. This is the
That makes
cardboard
sense, yeah.
inside, and there was some glue. So I took that off. I actually rinsed it with some water and then set it out to air dry, and it came out pretty good.
Some of them are harder as
This one's
well.
harder.
Like this one she's talking about. So this, I can't actually just squish it easily. Something like this, your dog would probably be less likely to ingest than a thin one that got wet. But it's just like with everything else. Supervise your dog the first time you're doing it. If you notice that your dog tries to eat the whole thing in one bite, it's probably not the thing for them.
Yeah.
Most dogs don't, but that's okay if they do. You can just figure out something else. Or you can
see there's other options.
and you can be there too, and as soon as they get the food and start to eat the cardboard, just take the cardboard away.
Yeah, or trade it out, preferably. Just throw something
Mhm.
else for them to go find a treat,
Yeah.
and then while you pick it up and put it away.
And truly, something like boxes or cardboard tubes, if you take the tape off and things like that, as long as they're not eating large quantities of it, they should be able to digest it. So if you're really worried about obstructions, I would actually start with something like this versus something like a bottle, where they are less likely to eat it, definitely, but if they do, it's sharper. So if you're not able to supervise, something like this would be much safer in the long run than leaving unattended than a bottle.
And generally, when you present this to them, they're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. And then if you see they're starting to ingest it and you need to get it away, well, you just created something just really high value and exciting and amazing. So then you're going to take it away from me. Why would you do that? So just have some treats on hand, and then if you need to, you can just entice them, throw a couple to the side, make sure they see you doing that, so they go over and chase them and then pick up the item to get it away. I just don't want you to create this, wow, you're such a traitor to me, mom or dad. Why did you do that to me? And they're going to scarf it up even more next time before you get to it.
I can tell you there's a rare dog. Obviously, some have digestive issues, so you can replace the meat that I'm talking about. But it's a rare dog that probably wouldn't go investigate if you threw some canned chicken on the ground in another spot. Even if they had this, they'd want both probably. So I pretty much always have that at my house. So that way, in case of emergencies, I can just toss some chicken on the ground. Surely they'll investigate, and I can get this away from them.
Yeah.
Or I can put it right in their face and take the thing
Yeah,
away
what
that
you do
way.
is just glue the item to their nose and lure them away.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this before I go to more questions. Sorry, folks. So what I did basically, I don't know if those of you who are ancient like myself remember back in the day, you used to have little paper pockets to roll up your coins in to then turn them in at the bank and get cash for them.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
those still exist.
Who would do that? Who would do that, right? So this can be very much like that in the sense that you could smear peanut butter inside, throw some kibble down there. It's just going to come out the other end though. So what do we do to prevent that? You can just tab over the ends like you used to do with those old coin rolls, and then throw your smear your peanut butter and throw your kibble in, and then do the same here. Again, making it harder or easier depending on your dog. So I save these, as you can tell. Very rarely do I finish a TP roll or a toilet paper towel roll and it gets not upcycled.
I often tend to use these for the stuffing too. So say you don't have brown paper or packing paper or other boxes to stuff this with, you can close this up and put this in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just use whatever you can. But these are fairly easier compared to a box, so I like to put these inside a lot of the time.
Yeah, I like that idea because it's they've already worked so hard. They find something a little easier to get through, and it's like, yay, it's getting easier and yummier.
Yeah, and
I like
especially if this is something that's familiar to them, and then you make it harder, they might be like a little bit wary or just not as interested in the box, and then they see this and they love this. So
I love
like,
that because if you've done something a certain way for a while and they've really been digging it, switch it up. You know, just like us, they get bored. That's why I like to switch up which treats I use for training. The food, I might stick with the same brand, but switch up the brand. Okay, the variety within that brand sometimes. Just generally, this is all about variety. I mean, we've asked them to be sedate little human-like four-legged couch potatoes, and so we really, make it a little more exciting for them. So there's another video on the Facebook page that demos what I'm about to show you. And again, this is one where you want to kind of know your dog's monitor. But for Easter last year, I filled a whole bunch of these Easter shells with treats. And Jasper, out of the 3 or 4 dogs that were here at the time, because it was just one of those days, knows the game of Find It really well. So I said, find it. And after I'd hidden the Easter eggs, they went around and found all the Easter eggs. They sniffed them through the little air holes, but then they would inevitably, just because they're doggies and they're investigative with their mouths, chomp on it, it would open up, and then the treats would fall out, and it was like, oh, wow! And so that gave me a second to then pick up the pieces of plastic and reload them. So, and then it was a great opportunity to teach the dogs who didn't know it the game of Find It. So to show them that you can use your sniffer, go and find this amazing thing, and then look, not only did you find something, but these treats popped out. So again, you can do this with all sorts of things, but this is a great one to do around the holidays or with any sort of little toys.
Yeah, especially I know it's Wonder Dog University, but cats like enrichment too.
Yes.
And in fact, at the shelter, you will probably see little plastic eggs in the cat's kennels, and it's because a lot of people give us these because they know this is a really easy, reusable enrichment item for the cats. They love batting things around and knocking it open, and then the little cat treats or kibbles come out.
Yeah, catnip inside even.
Yeah, so this, catnip inside, boy. So if you have a cat, something like this is going to be a real winner.